Hi, class. So this for me is take two. I actually recorded this class, spent about 30, 40 minutes on it, and didn't record it. So we're going to give this a second try. I'm going to start the screen share right now. We'll begin going through the slides. Great. So this is chapter 17, kind of relates to the last chapter on motivating employees, how to be an effective leader. So in this chapter, we're going to define leadership and leaders, compare and contrast early theories of leadership, describe three major contingency theories of leadership, develop your skill at choosing an effective leadership style, discuss contemporary issues affecting leadership, and know how to prepare for an effective transition to a leadership position. At some point, none of us are leaders, and at other points in lives, we may be, called on to do so, or developed enough skill or expertise in our field, or just be someone people like and can motivate others. Describe 21st century views of leadership. Leader is someone who can influence others and who has managerial authority, right? Those two characteristics are super important. Leadership is the process of influencing a group to achieve goals. Next, leadership traits. Research focused on identifying personal characteristics that differentiate leaders from non-leaders. Was unsuccessful in who can influence others and who has managerial authority. Meaning, there's no one magic bullet that would make you a good leader. There are many combinations of different skills that make effective leaders, depending on where your expertise is and what kind of business that you're in. It proved impossible to identify a set of traits that would always differentiate a leader. So no, again, single trait made one leader better than the other. 8 traits associated with leadership. Drive, you have to be motivated. They have a relatively high desire for achievement. They are ambitious. They have a lot of energy. They are tirelessly persistent in their activities, and they show initiative. You also, of course, want to have a desire to lead. This is what you want to do. If you have no desire to lead people, you're probably not going to be good at it. You're not going to be good at many things that you don't want to do. Honest and integrity, right? This also correlates with, relationship building, self-confidence. People are going to look to you for leadership. They're not going to want someone who's a big doubter of themselves. Intelligent. You're going to have to at least appear to be smart and be able to solve problems and create vision. Have job relevant knowledge, specific, maybe an area of mastery. Leaders tend to be energetic, charismatic, extroverted, at least for periods of time when they need to be. And then proneness to guilt, which is different than self-confidence. Guilt proneness is more like taking responsibility than being guilty of doing something wrong. Behavioral theories that identify behaviors that differentiate effective leaders from ineffective leaders. First, we have autocratic style. It's a leader who dictates work methods, makes unilateral decisions, and limits employee participation. This type of leadership style is most commonly found in operational roles where there's not a whole lot of need for opinion and feedback. It's done one way and it has to be done that way, and you need someone who's going to make sure it is. Democratic leadership style, that's a leader who involves employees in decision-making, delegates authority, and uses feedback. I find this to be most common in marketing jobs, right? Maybe it's something with a little creativity involved. You might want feedback. You might want to loop in others. That tends to be more democratic style leadership. And laissez-faire, a leader who lets the group make decisions and complete the work in whatever way they see fit. Oftentimes, you'll see this in sales roles where you need to find someone who can basically do it on their own, and you only need to worry about the numbers. You don't need to worry about the individuals too much. The Ohio State studies showed that there was some leaders who initiated structure. They defined his or her role and the roles of group members in attaining goals. The consideration, the extent at which leader has work relationship characterized by mutual trust and respect for members. So, are you good at creating systems, or are you good at bringing up people? The high leader is good at both. University of Michigan study says 2 dimensions of leadership is employee and production oriented. They found that managers who were employee focused ended up getting higher production than managers who were focused on production. A little bit ironic there, but maybe not too surprising. Managerial grid, a 2-dimensional grid for appraising leadership styles. This is a little summary of the last few pages we went over. The Fiedler contingency model, a leadership theory proposing that effective group performance depends on proper match between a leader's style and the degree to which the situation allows the leader to control and influence. And the least preferred coworker questionnaire that basically measures whether a leader is task or relationship oriented, right? Production or people. Leader-member relations describes the degree of confidence, trust, and respect employees have for their leader. Task structure describes the degree which job assignments are formalized and structured. And then position power describes the degree which influence of a leader has over activities such as hiring, firing, and discipline. Here's a little visual of the Fiedler model, showing the differences between task-oriented and relationship-oriented in a visual format. Situational leadership theory, a leadership contingency theory that focuses on followers' readiness. How ready is your team? And readiness describes the degree of which job assignments are formalized and structured. Like, if they're ready to do their work. Leadership styles could be high task, low relationship, high task, high relationship, low task, high relationship for participating, or lastly, delegating, which I tend to find to be the weakest style of management. Low task, low relationship. You're just putting things through a funnel. Then 4 stages of follower readiness, both unable and unwilling. Difficult place to be in. I'd rather be at R2, unable but willing. At least they're motivated, right? Then you have 3, it's like mutiny, able but unwilling. And then R4, both able and willing. Path goal theory, a leadership theory that says the leader's job is to assist followers and attain their goals and provide direction or support needed to ensure that their goals are compatible with the goals of the group or organization. So 4 leadership styles: get directive leader, supportive leader, participative leader, and then achievement oriented. Directive leader lets subordinates know what is expected from them and often gives them guidance. Supportive leader shows concerns for the followers' needs and concerns. Participative leader consults with group members. An achievement leader sets challenging goals. And here's a little bit of a visual of the path goal model. I'll let you look at that for a quick second. Leader-member exchange theory, the leadership theory that says leaders create in and out groups, and those in groups will have higher performance ratings, less turnover, and greater job satisfaction. You know, this is like, you can say it's a cool group, right? The manager favors this person, right? But there is some truth that if you are the manager's favorite, you're likely to get access to more resources, whether that's better projects, better work, more money, right? Whole host of things. Transactional leaders are leaders who lead primarily using social exchanges or transactions, trading favors. Transformational leaders, leaders who stimulate and inspire followers to achieve extraordinary outcomes. Charismatic leader, an enthusiastic, self-confident leader whose personality and actions influence people to behave in certain ways. Visionary leadership, the ability to create and articulate a realistic, credible, and attractive vision of the future that improves upon the present situation. Authentic leadership, people, this goes back to trust all the way in one of these earlier slides. If people consider you trustworthy, it'll be easier to form relationships, easier to become a leader, easier for people to take your advice, easier for you to motivate them. Ethical leadership has never been more important. Ethical leaders put public safety ahead of profits, hold people accountable, and create a culture in which employees feel that they should and could do a better job, right? And especially in this environment of social media, and everyone else monitoring other people's work and business, it's certainly important. Many leaders are not equipped to handle the change to employee teams. Just think about just the turnover in your group. How are changes being handled? Where is the team's external boundaries? Do you have any other groups that are parallel to yours that potentially could cross-train in an emergency situation? And then how do you track the team's process and measure that over time? So team leadership roles could be a coach, a liaison, conflict manager, and troubleshooter. Another good visual here. Legitimate power, the power a leader has as a result of his or her position, like, the hire or fire people, or good performance or bad performance. Coercive power, the punishment the manager can give. And then reward power, can they give rewards? Expert power, that's special knowledge, right? Can they teach you something? If you lack other areas of management expertise, being a master in your field can be very valuable. And referent power is more like, it sounds cheesy, but you're cool. People like you. You have access to something. Like if you are the person in charge of the marketing budget, right? People are going to be nice to you. Credibility, the degree to which people perceive someone as honest and competent. And then trust, that's related to integrity, character, and the ability of a leader. So 5 dimensions of trust. If you don't have most of it, if not all of these, people are going to have a hard time trusting you. Integrity, competence, consistency, loyalty, and openness. And how do you build trust, right? Being open with others, they'll be open with you. If you're consistent, people will expect that. Be fair. Most importantly, fulfill your promises, maintain confidences, aka secrets, tell the truth, and demonstrate competence. And be fair, of course. You often see this in retail stores where, a return happens and they need to call a manager, and the person at the register can't handle the return because they don't empower their employees, and it slows down sales, it slows down you, it slows down the manager. Letting your team members have some degree of empowerment, that's just one example, could allow for greater efficiency and higher self-worth. Leading across cultures, effective leaders do not use a single style. They adjust their style to the situation. And then national culture certainly has an influence, as we'll see in the next slide. So we see here that Korean leaders are expected to be more paternalistic. Arab leaders are not expected to show kindness. That's seen as weak. Chinese leaders are expected to stay positive even when facing attacks. European leaders are expected to take action. Japanese leaders are expected to be humble and speak frequently. Latin American leaders should not feel rejected when others behave formally, right? When they're being more casual. Scandinavian and Dutch leaders, it's impolite to give public praise. It's more embarrassing. Malaysia, they're expected to show compassion, but at the same time be autocratic. German, very performance-oriented culture with low compassion. And then Sub-Saharan Africa basically build deep relationships with close teamwork. So, you want to become a leader, you're not born with it. Some base traits might help, but, you can look at leadership training, read books, get your MBA, become a master in your field. You just get more training, right? More experience. All this stuff is super relevant. And that is the end of this chapter. Hopefully it recorded this time. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you live on Wednesday.